So, for the continuation, ito na yung pinaka-last for this week 2. So, mabilis na lang to, class. Medyo malawak kasi yung rocks kasi malawak siya. Unlike dito sa lesson 2 and 3. So, I hope na still step by step yung ginagawa natin sa panonood sa video discussion po natin. Ako. So, lesson 3 is all about endogenic process. So, kung kanina is exogenic, ngayon punta na tayo kay endogenic processes. So, what is endogenic processes? So, the driving force is the thermal energy of the mantle. Responsible for earthquakes, development of continents, mountains, building, volcanic activities, and etc. Geological processes that occur beneath the surface of the Earth. They comprise volcanic, tectonic, and isostatic processes which shape the surface of all terrestrial planets, the moon, and basically all other solar system bodies with solid surfaces. So in these processes, we are interior heat of the Earth. So meron tayong primordial and radioactive heat. So what is primordial heat? So, it is heat generated during Earth's formation. So, etong heat na to, nung ginagawa pa lang yung planetang Earth, doon, yung heat na meron doon ay yung tinatawag na primordial heat. Primordial heat is the internal heat energy accumulated by dissipation in a planet during its first few million years of evolution. So, dahil dyan, sa evolution na nangyayari, nandyan si primordial heat. So, it also, the main contribution to the primordial heat are the accretional energy. So, meron tayong 3 energy in primordial energy. So, meron tayong accretion energy. So, this energy deposited by infalling planetesimals and differential energy. The latter is mainly released by core formation and is basically potential energy that is dissipated upon formation of a gravitational stable layering of the planet. In addition, the primordial heat, the planet's internal heat source, is mainly provided by the radioactive decay of long-lived unstable isotopes. So, yun daw po yung mainly na provide pagdating sa primordial heat. So, we have 3 energy primordial heat. So, 1 is accretion energy. So, what is accretion energy? So, heat released from collision of planetary objects during the early formation of the planets. We have the adiabatic compression. It is a heat generated as materials are compressed. Kino-compress yung mga materials na kung saan nakakapag-generate ng heat. Next, core formation energy. So, from the word itself, core. So, ito yung nanggaling dun sa Earth's core or the pinaka-center of the Earth. So, saan nga ba nanggagaling si primordial heat or saan siya nanggaling? Sabi dito, a new study reveals that only about half of our planet's internal heat stem for natural radioactivity. The rest is primordial heat left over from when Earth's first concealed from a hot ball of gas, dust, and other materials. Sa unang pagkagawa ng ating planeta, nandoon na si primordial heat. So, until now, pinag-aaralan pa rin patungkol dyan sa primordial heat na yan. So, meron silang panibagong findings na kung saan nanggaling sa eksperimento nila carried out deep inside a Japanese mountain. Sa isang mountain sa Japan, doon sila nagkakandak ngayon ng research or experiment patungkol sa primordial heat. So next, we have the radioactive heat. So what is radioactive heat? Heat generated by long-term radioactive decay. This heat produces an effect of radiation on materials. The energy of the alpha, beta, or gamma radiation is converted into thermal movement of atoms. So, heat produced within a medium as a result of absorption of radiation from decay of radioisotopes in the medium, such as thorium, potassium, uranium, and uranium negative 235. Before that, punta muna tayo dito kay radioactive. So, how does radioactive decay hit the Earth? So, papaano nga daw? So, many of the rocks in Earth crust and interior undergo this process of radioactive decay. This process produces subatomic particles that zip away and later collide with surrounding materials inside the Earth. Their energy of motion is converted to heat, kung saan nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag na radioactive heat. So how the Earth's internal heat distributed? We have to consider. We have the convection and the conduction. So convection, when a fluid such as air or liquid is heated and then travels away from the source, it carries the thermal energy along. This type of heat transfer is called convection. The fluid above a hot surface expand, becomes less dense, and rises circulation of heat. Kung mapapansin natin sa convection na image, cycled siya. So from the ground, air warms and rises, papunta sa air cools and sinks. So ganoon yung process. When we say conduction naman po, it's the process by which heat or electricity is directly transmitted through a substance when there is a difference of temperature or of electrical potential between adjoining regions without movement of the material. So, katulad ng nasa picture po, kung mapapansin natin, So, mapapansin natin, gumamit tayo ng electronic or device na meron naglalabas ng radiation. From that radiation, from that radiation heat, nagkakaroon ng convection sa loob ng eto dun sa nakasalang. Then, from that, nagsa-cycle siya dahil sa init niya. Once na hinawakan natin, doon natin maano yung conduction. Ganyan yung nangyayari doon sa heat distributed pagdating sa Earth's internal. Ayan po. Next, magmatism. So, dito, kung papansin natin from the partial melting origin of a magma, yung magma aangat, then magma differential in magma reservoir, intrusion, stagnation, crystallization, extrusion, and replatting. Nagkakaroon siya ng iba't ibang klaseng pagkakahati-hati. Then when the volcanic eruption lalabas si lava from the magma. Then volcanic gases mix with the atmosphere and ayun yung nagiging process natin. From the asthenosphere to lithosphere to atmosphere for the magmatism. So how do magmas form? So, number 1 is melting due to decrease in pressure or the compression melting. So, the decrease in pressure affecting a hot mantle rock at a constant temperature permits melting, forming a magma. Number 2, melting as a result of addition of volatiles or flux melting. When volatiles mix with hot, dry rock, the volatile decreases the rock's melting point and they help break the chemical bonds in the rock to allow melting. And third, melting resulting from heat transfer from rising magma. So, heat transfer melting tayo. So, a rising magma from the mantle brings heat that can melt the surrounding rocks and the shallower depths. So, a mantle plum is an area, So, dito kasi kay magma, meron tayong iba't ibang, parang parts niya. So, meron tayong tawag na, ito. So, bago tayo dun kay magma plums, so dito muna. where does magma form? So, ayan, yung ano natin. So, si magma ay na-form first in the mid-oceanic ridges. So, the rising magma in mantle convection cell brings heat to the surface. So, transferring heat to the overlying rocks. The transfer of heat due to the convection is accompanied by a decrease in pressure or the compression associated with the spreading of the tectonic plates. So, in the middle of the ocean or mid-oceanic, meron doon na kung saan makikita sa mga nagda-dive ay yung mga submarine doon sa pinakagitna ng ocean. Kaya kakita sila ng ganyan. Parang ano siya, bulkan sa ilalim ng dagat. Then nagkakaroon doon, naglalabas yun ng init doon kung saan yung mga rocks ay nagkakaroon ng nagkakaroon sila ng overlying rocks. Then yung heat nagko-convect, then nagkakaroon ng pressure, decompression, and nag-spread dun sa mga tectonic plates po natin. Next, we have the mantle plumes. So ito na yung tinatawag nating mantle. So, mantle plumes, the transfer of heat and the compression result to magma generation. The source of heat for mantle plumes is much deeper. So, di ba meron tayong lower mantle and upper mantle? So, dito, a mantle plume is an area under the rocky outer layer of Earth called the crust. So, meron tayong dalawang klase ng crust. Meron tayong oceanic crust and the continental crust. So, where here, magma is hotter than surrounding of it. Heat from this extra hot magma causes melting and thinning of the rocky crust, which led to widespread volcanic activity on Earth's surface above the plume. So, dahil sa nangyayari na pagkaroon ng melting, luminipis yung crust natin, na kung saan nagbibigay ng pagkakataon sa mga volcano na mag-erupt. Okay? So third, we have the subduction. So, subduction zones. So, meron tayong oceanic crustal rocks are formed along spreading centers, typically beneath several kilometers of sea water. So, what is subduction zone and where do they happen? So, a subduction zone is the biggest crash seen on Earth. So, this boundary marks the collision between two of the planet tectonic plates. So, kung mapapansin natin, ayan. So, we have the yung mid-ocean ridge, that's yung X, yun yung pinaka-subduction zones natin. So, mapapansin natin, the oceanic crust, ayan, usually seen to the mantle beneath the lighter continental crust. So, continental crust. Ayan, kung makikita natin dito sa pictures. So, what is form a subduction zone? So, the area where subduction occurs is known as subduction zone. Ito yung subduction zone. When one plate begins to slip underneath another, one trench is formed. The earthquakes that result due to the plates grinding against each other often cause magma to spill out through the trench in submarine volcanoes. So, when we say submarine volcanoes, ito yung sa ilalim naman. So, mga mid-ocean sa gitna ng dagat. Okay, so ayun lang for the lesson 3 and I hope na naintindihan niyo siya. And if ever na meron kayong tanong, ayan, let's meet sa ating GMIT schedule and make sure lang na natapos natin tong video discussion from lesson 1 to up to this lesson, lesson 3. Ayun, and thank you so much. Every Wednesday po ako mag-upload ng ating quiz and activity, then 1 week siyang tatakbo. Kasi Wednesday, then yung pinaka parang deadlines niya. Then, mag-upload po ako every Sunday. Pero kung mas maaga, mas better. Pero hindi ko naman kayo ino-obligate na pagka-upload ko is manood agad po kayo. Hindi naman po. So, ayun. Sana nagkakaintindihan po tayo and kindly reach me when may tanong po agad kayo. And thank you so much and see you on our classroom, Google Meet schedule. Thank you so much, class.